Hi guys! Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. So ngayon, pag-uusapan natin kung ano itong krimen na murder. So ito ay nakapaloob sa Article 248 ng Revised Penal Code of the Philippines and it belongs to the crimes against persons. So magkakaroon tayo ng overview kung ano yung difference ng homicide sa crime na murder. So, when we say murder, ito ay may kaparusahan na reclusion temporal at its maximum period hanggang parusang kamatayan. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, when we say reclusion temporal, it ranges from 12 years and 1 day up to 20 years. So since reclusion temporal on its maximum, it starts with 20 years and up. So from 20 years nakaparusahan hanggang parusang kamatayan. But since suspended yung death penalty in the Philippines, it could range hanggang sa life imprisonment. So ang kasong murder is homicide plus one qualifying circumstance na ating tatalakayin na nakapaloob sa Article 248 ng Revised Penal Code. When we say homicide, ang kaparusahan nito is reclusion temporal which ranges from 12 years up to 20 years. So, ano nga ba ang pagkakaiba ng homicide sa kasong murder? Bakit pag murder, mas matindi or mas grave yung penalty dito? Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notification button. Let's go! So, ayun na nga guys. The main difference ng murder and homicide is the intent to kill. So, when we say homicide, there is a killing, but hindi napapatunayan doon yung intent to kill. When there's really an intent to kill on the parts of the accused, then it aggravates to murder. And merong binigay ang Revised Penal Code na guidelines kung paano madedetermine yung intent to kill. And that's why when we say murder, it's the highest form or one of the highest forms ng grave crime which involves killing. So, paano natin na-determine yung intent ng person to kill? So, sa court, pinapatunayan natin doon yung means used. Paano nga ba ito ginawa? Yung nature, location, and number of wounds. And yung conduct of the malefactor before, during, or immediately after killing the victim. And number 3, yung circumstances under which the crime was committed and yung motives nung accused. So doon nagkakatalo whether the accused shall be reprimanded with the crime of homicide or murder. So, ang sabi ng batas sa Article 248, under the crime of murder, any person who, not falling within the provisions of Article 246, which is Parricide, shall kill another, shall be guilty of murder and shall be punished by reclusion temporal in its maximum period to death. So, nabanggit natin kanina that murder is a homicide plus any of the aggravating circumstances which are the following. So, unang-una, if committed with any of the following attendant circumstances, una, with treachery, or ito yung tinatawag natin na, or ito yung may panlilinlang, and taking advantage of superior strength, or when the killing was made with the aid of armed men, or employing means to weaken the defense, or of means or persons to ensure or afford impunity. So, ibig sabihin, may mga ginamit yung accused ng means in order to weaken yung defense, or kaya hindi alam nung victim na gagawin niya iyon. And like sinabi nga dito, may tulong ng mga armadong mga tao, or taking advantage of the superior strength. Like for example, he is at the age of, sabihin natin 25, malakas, and ang victim is only, sabihin natin, it is only around 13 years old, 14 years old, so hindi pa yon makakalaban. So, ang sabi ng court, not necessarily na may treachery kapag sa likod yung attack. It could also be a frontal attack kapag yung attack na yon is unexpected and the victim is unarmed. So, treachery is employing means tending directly and especially to ensure the execution of the crime without risk to himself arising from the defense which the offended party may make. So, dito, sinigurado nung attacker na hindi makakalaban yung victim. Number 2, kapag yung killing is attended by consideration of a prize, reward, or a promise. So, one example nito are those hired killers. They do it in consideration of a prize. Number 3, by means of inundation, fire, poison, explosion, shipwreck, stranding of a vessel, derailment or assault upon a street car or locomotive, fall of an airship, by means of motor vehicles, or with the use of any other means involving great waste and ruin. So, understandable naman to, kapag ginamitan ng poison, makikita talaga yung intent na gusto talagang patayin yung victim. Also, yung fire, if fire is used to kill the victim, kahit pa as a result thereof ay magkaroon ng sunog, it will not result into arson. But since this is the fire is used to kill the victim, it will fall into the crime of murder. Sabi nga ng court, the use of fire is a means to kill even if the property were burnt as a consequence thereof. The crime of arson is not committed. If other houses were subsequently burnt, it only becomes a generic aggravating circumstance. Isa pa, kapag nangyari yung killing on occasion of any of the calamities enumerated in the preceding paragraph, or of an earthquake, eruption of a volcano, destructive cyclone, epidemic, or other public calamity. So, ginamit pa yung epidemic or yung pagsabog ng bulkan para maisakatuparan yung balak nito to kill the victim. Number 5, yung with evident premeditation. Ibig sabihin, matagal na niyang pinagplanuhan ito. In one case decided by the Supreme Court, naging murder when it has been established sa trial na yung accused, bumili siya ng mga kutsilyo or yung mga ginamit niya to kill the victim, and meron talaga siyang time to meditate, na pag-isipan niya talaga ito. And lastly, when it's committed with cruelty by deliberately and inhumanly augmenting the suffering of the victim or outraging or scoffing at his person or corpse. So, isang example dito is if the person or the accused has no intention really to kill the victim, but in order for him to conceal or para itago yung victim, nangyayari ito like yung chop-chop lady na yung kaso ng chop-chop lady, it's augmenting inhumanly the suffering of the victim or outraging or scoffing at his person or corpse. So, those are the reasons kung bakit may crime of murder at kung bakit mas grave yung offense na ito and consequently, mas matindi rin yung penalty kapag nag-fall into murder yung case. So, I hope may natutunan tayo and I want to say thank you and hanggang sa susunod, maraming salamat guys. Have a great day everyone.